Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi, Jake.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
Alright, what is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Juggernaut Retro Reviews. And this is episode number 49 of Juggernaut Retro Reviews. And today I'm going to be talking about WWE Money in the Bank 2014. And a funny story is, well, I originally did this I reviewed this pay-per-view when it happened, that like night of that, how many years ago was it? I don't remember, like 8 years ago. I reviewed that show. But the thing of it is, for some reason it got deleted, or maybe I accidentally deleted it a while back. So, hey, I'm going to review this show again for you guys. And going back and watching the show, I thought it was a pretty decent show. I mean, the show was held from Boston, Massachusetts at the TD Garden. And the show was on June the 29th, 2014. And this is at the time when they were, doing the whole WWE Network specials. This was, they were a few months into doing these network specials, because wasn't the first one like WrestleMania or something like that? I don't exactly remember, but it was. Mania was the first WWE Network special. But overall, I thought this was a good show. I mean, Boston always has good crowds. But before we get started with this review, go follow me on all my social media platforms. Go follow me on Twitter at TheTrueJSB. And go follow me on Instagram, TheTrueJSB as well. And also go subscribe to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always an Instant Classic. And I mean always. And then you can also, go follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. It's at ICW_podcast. And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, all those different platforms, which you guys can see all the links down below. And also go support our Pro Wrestling Tees. Go pick up a Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast Pro Wrestling Tees t-shirt. Okay, now let's get started with this review. So, the first match opened up with a tag team match for the WWE Tag Team titles. We had the Usos going up against the Wyatt family, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. And, this whole feud, like, I remember this feud back in 2014. Like, this was a really good feud. Like, they were putting on great matches throughout the year of 2014, like, starting here, right? Because I think this one was the first one, and then they had match at like Battleground the next month, and I don't remember if they had one at SummerSlam. I'm pretty sure they did have a match at SummerSlam. Let me. I'm actually going to check really quick here if they did have a match at SummerSlam. Hold on. Let's see if they did have a match. I'm looking. I don't believe they did have a match, which is kind of, maybe they did have one on the no match on the pre-show, which I'm very surprised, because like at the next pay-per-view they had at Battleground they had a 2 out of 3 falls match. And what this feud reminded me of 2014, it reminded me of the feud that's going on currently right now with the Usos and the Street Profits. They've been putting on great matches, and some people might say, hey, that Usos and Street Profits match could possibly be one of the matches of the year, match of year contenders. And the Usos and the Wyatt family and Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, they worked really well together. Really good chemistry. It's unfortunate that Luke Harper passed away. Rest in peace to him. And Eric Rowan, I really don't know what he's doing right now currently in professional wrestling, but I mean, this was definitely a solid opener. I mean, they even got a "This is awesome" chant. So, I mean, this is a solid opener here, and I really enjoyed it. And I just really miss, watching Luke Harper, seeing him on TV, AEW TV. It's like unfortunate and stuff. But no, this was good stuff here. I just forgot how good these Usos and Wyatt family matches were, but they were really good. And then the next match we had was Paige defending the WWE Divas Championship against Naomi, and Cameron was in the corner of Naomi. I was not a big fan of this match here at all. Like, I mean, Paige, she was a good worker, and then Naomi, Paige, she, recently, made it to the main roster at this point because, that she beat, AJ Lee on the first night, being on the main roster, for the Divas title. And then, you have Naomi, which she was still kind of, a little green in the ring. She wasn't the greatest. And so, these two women didn't have the best of chemistry. This match was kind of boring in my opinion. I wasn't the biggest fan of this. And I started becoming a bigger fan of Paige, like, when she had her feud with AJ Lee later on and stuff. And, like, she was doing that whole weird gimmick. Like, she was in love with AJ Lee a little bit. At the same time, she wasn't. Like she did that whole heel character. But, this was, like I said, I wasn't really a big fan of this match. And you had Cameron. She seemed like they were planting the seeds with the breakup between Naomi and Cameron here. Like, Cameron was excited, that Paige got the win. And there wasn't really much reaction with Cameron here. Cameron, I was never a fan of her. Like, I was not a fan of Funkadactyls. Especially Cameron. But Naomi, she's, as her time went on in WWE, she has really grown. And it's unfortunate that what's going on with Naomi right now with her, walking out. But hey, if she's doing that whole stand-up, because you see what they're doing right now with the current women right now, when it's only revolving around a certain amount of women, which, hey, you can definitely see why Naomi and Sasha Banks walked out. But yeah, let's go on to the next match here, which we had was Adam Rose going up against Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow, so he's dressed up as Paul Revere, which this was the time where he was imitating other characters and different people from the past and all that. It was unfortunate because a year prior to this, Damien Sandow won the Money in the Bank. Okay, and then he loses the cash in to John Cena. He tries to cash in on Cena, but fails that completely. And then, basically kind of goes nowhere. Like I said in my Money Bank 2013 review, I didn't really see Damien Sandow as like a big main eventer. But I thought, he could have been, good IC champion, good United States champion. But fortunately, WWE didn't really see that. And Adam Rose, I wasn't a big fan of, like, don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. Or, like, don't be, or something like that. Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. And he was doing that stuff, with the people coming out, ringside, doing that whole party, the whole rosebuds and all that. And it's funny, Braun Strowman, he was a rosebud at one point, and there were a lot of people that were rosebuds at one point that, were on the developmental system. It's just, unfortunate, because they could have done a lot better things with both these guys. Adam Rose, they could have maybe had him as, people thought, he was going to be like Leo Kruger, stuff he was doing on the Independence. And yeah, and Damien Sandow, like I said, him just imitating characters. But I did enjoy the stuff that Damien Sandow did with The Miz when he was imitating The Miz, like later on this year. It was like a month later, he was like acting like The Miz. And then they won I think they won the tag titles. Yeah, like at SummerSlam or something like that. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of this at all. Like, both guys were underutilized and they just didn't have really any direction what they were going with here. Here we go. We got a really good match here. So we got the Money in the Bank ladder match. So we got Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston, and Rob Van Dam. Now, this was a really good Money in the Bank ladder match. I really enjoyed this. The whole story was like, Dean Ambrose, like earlier night, he's trying to stop the Authority, so he goes like, he wanted to be in this match. He was like, do I want to take the briefcase or do I want to, punch Seth Rollins' face? And he was like, how about I do both? So, the whole storyline was revolving around Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins here. And, Seth Rollins part of the Authority. And Rollins, on that Raw before, he's saying, hey, he was begging Triple H to put Dean Ambrose in this Money in the Bank ladder match. So Dean Ambrose then come out and screw it for Rollins. But yeah, like I said, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, they just right out of the gate, they just start going at it. Dolph Ziggler, he was looking great in this match, hitting some nice spots in this match. He had a really nice zigzag on the ladder on the Kofi Kingston. And I even like the spot that Kofi Kingston and Seth Rollins did on the ladder, that backdrop that Rollins took off the top of the ladder into another ladder that was like bridged. That was a nice spot. Rob Van Dam, he's ladder match. He's been in so many Money Bank matches and ladder matches, so it was smart to have him here, which he was in the years prior Money in the Bank. So, and so great to bounce ideas off of Rob Van Dam. Go like, okay, yeah, we'll do this spot here, do this spot. So, a veteran like Rob Van Dam was great to have in this match. Kofi Kingston, he's good in Money in the Bank ladder matches. Or ladder matches in general, doing those big high spots. But no, I definitely think this was probably the best Money in the Bank match that happened on this show here. It was good. I really enjoyed it. But the winner of the match, I really wasn't the biggest fan of the ending. Like, with Kane coming out, hitting a tombstone on Dean Ambrose, and then setting up the ladder for Seth Rollins to go and climb up and get the Money in the Bank briefcase. I wasn't a big fan of that. But I understood, with Seth Rollins being that cheap heel, chicken shit heel, running away from everybody. So, it made sense. And, he had that one of the greatest cash-ins ever. Well, I think it's the greatest cash-in ever. Because I'm just a big Seth Rollins mark. But, yeah, Seth Rollins won this match here. And then the next match we had was a tag team match between Goldust and Stardust going up against Curtis Axel and Ryback. I think it was like the Monday prior to this, they debuted Stardust, which Stardust is Cody Rhodes. Because, at the time he didn't want to be in this shot, stepping into his father's shadow and being in his father's shadow and stuff. So he wanted to do something else there. Which, I actually enjoyed the Stardust character. He made best of what he did with it, and it was very entertaining. Curtis Axel Ryback, or Rybaxel as they were calling him, I really wasn't a big fan of them at all. They hit Stardust hit the Crossroads to get the 1-2-3 on Ryback. Not much of a match here. I didn't really care. Other than that, it was kind of slow. I wasn't, like I said, Ryback. He didn't really work well with anybody in WWE, so yeah, it just wasn't a very good match here. And then the next match we had was Rusev going up against Big E. And this was when Rusev was doing the whole Russia thing. It was Russia versus the United States. Russia versus the United States. Every single pay-per-view. And I think it was even at SummerSlam where they had that flag match where, the winner gets their flag brought down. Which was a very, very stupid match. But this Rusev versus Big E, and this was before Big E, this is before they had the whole New Day, which the New Day started in 2015. Yeah, the year, towards the end of 2014. Yeah, but this whole Rusev stuff, this was when he was still dominant. He beat Big E by the accolade. It was a solid match. Not bad, for two big men here. And Big E was still kind of coming into himself. So, splitting apart from, everybody else. So I think it was definitely solid, Big E hit some nice moves. I thought he was going to hit that big spear that he does goes to the middle rope. I always like when he does that, but there were sometimes like it looked dangerous. But I mean, like I said, I mean this was a solid match though. And then the next match we had was Fandango as a special guest referee. It was Layla going up against Summer Rae. So basically, this whole love triangle was going on. Like Layla was trying to take Fandango from Summer Rae, and then Summer Rae was trying to get Layla back, and they were doing this whole, like I said, love triangle. So it was terrible. It was bad. Layla ended up winning the match, and then Fandango went with Layla and Summer Rae. She was very, very upset. And that was really that there. I mean, not much else to say. I mean, Summer Rae during the match, you know, she was this very, and trying to get attention on her and, you know, be very sexual and stuff. But yeah, I just was not a big fan of this. It's unfortunate for what they did with Fandango, because I think he could have been a really good character. But they really went nowhere with him also. Yeah, let's go on to the main event here, which was a ladder match for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So the reason why the title had to be vacated was because Daniel Bryan, he was having neck injuries and he had to retire from WWE. Well, he didn't retire, but he had to take a break, and then, you know, he came back later on, back in 2015. Or it was later on throughout the year. Because I remember Daniel Bryan being a part of the Rumble. And everybody wanted Bryan to win the Rumble. And then, you know, that terrible Rumble from 2015. Oh, man. People were going, cancel the WWE Network. Cancel it. I remember that. I2T with Roman winning that Rumble. With the whole authority taking control. Yeah, I remember that. And The Rock coming out at the end trying to save everything. But no, yeah, we got the Money in the Bank. We had the ladder match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena, Alberto Del Rio, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, Kane, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Sheamus in this match. This was a good match. I mean, it wasn't better than the first ladder match we saw, but I mean, this was all right here. It's reminded me of like a ladder match you would play on WWE 2K. Like, there's so many guys trying to run up the ladder, and like just someone tries to go up and gets pulled down. I mean, there was one point where that's all what's happening. Everybody's like in the ring, and it was just a cluster. This match kind of revolved a lot around like Cena and Randy Orton, because like this was definitely like, oh, I definitely thought that Cena and Orton were going to win this match at this time. But Cesaro, you know, I like the spot where Cesaro and Sheamus, they were fighting on, you know, the ladder, and then they were both holding on to the titles, and they were swinging back and forth. So I liked that spot. That was nice. I even liked the spot where with Cesaro and Sheamus, like they were fighting, and there was like a ladder in between, and like Roman Reigns basically picked it up and like put the ladder on the side, and Sheamus was trying to grab the titles. So I thought that was pretty cool. Randy Orton, he did a nice DDT off of, you know, a ladder that was bridged to like the table to the ring. That was pretty cool. Bray Wyatt, he was doing pretty good stuff in this match. Kane, he basically was there, you know, just trying to help Randy Orton win, but in the end, John Cena won the match. You know, it looks like Randy Orton was about to win, but Super Cena came in for the rescue and hit an AA to it was Kane, and then took out Randy Orton, and then climbed the ladder to become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, which I think that was his 14th or 15th. I don't exactly remember, but it was one of those. So, and then of course at SummerSlam that year, he had that squash match against Lesnar. But yeah, that was a Money in the Bank 2014 review. Yeah, I thought it was a good show. You know, the two Money in the Bank matches were good, worthy to watch. The opener with the Usos and the Wyatt family, that was good. But other than that, that's about all you need to really watch on this show. I mean, they were at this time, you know, they were really doing a whole lot of they were doing a lot of filler stuff, but I mean, it was, you know, a decent show here, you know, just to see, you know, who was going to be winning the, you know, the world championship, you know, after it's been vacated. You know, Money Bank has always been, you know, been a fun pay-per-view to watch, so I mean, it's a decent show. So if you haven't, you know, checked out the show, you know, I'd say, yeah, check out those 3 matches: the opener and the two ladder matches. But with all that being said, this is your boy Juggernaut saying peace out, and I will catch you guys in my next video, whenever that may be. Probably I might be doing a ROH Death Before Dishonor prediction show. And also, I might be doing like a whole wrestling, like a roundup type of show, like maybe like a Juggernaut wrestling roundup or something like that. I don't know yet. I might start doing that at the end of the week. You know, like breaking down some like talking about news, rumors, and reviewing some things like what happened throughout the week of professional wrestling. You know, try to do one of those videos once a week. We'll see about that. I'm still trying to come up with a good name for that show. But hey, if you guys have any suggestions what that show would you like to have it called, go down in the comments below. Let me know. But yeah, I will talk to you guys in my next video, whenever that may be. So I'll see you later here.